Happy Monday everyone. Today I was planning such an exciting homemaking video for you all, but as you can see there's a massive storm, and at 9:30 this morning a very loud bang was heard down the street, and my husband actually said as he was reversing down our driveway and he looked to the left to check if any traffic was coming, he saw a massive spark fly out of one of the big boxes that are on top of the telephone poles. So he figured we're without power. So off he went to work, which was fine. I don't need him here. I'm a big girl. And I just figured, oh, well, we're just going back to pioneer days. We have a gas stove top, which I am ever so grateful for. So we're able to boil water for coffee and Milo, and also boil water for the dishes. And importantly today, boil water to wash my hair, because I honestly thought the power would only be for one day. We actually were without power for 2 days, and I'll talk more about that later. And Tuesday I was meant to go to a hairdressing appointment, and because I'd had a test done on the Friday, she said don't wash your hair for 2 days just to make sure that the test holds, and on Monday you can wash your hair. I said brilliant. So of course I boiled the water and then I washed my hair in the sink. Now I have done this 100 times before, but usually the tap is there, so trying to spoon or bowl water from one bowl to another, I ended up with water pretty much everywhere, all down the front of my top and all over the floor. So the floor got a little bit of a cleaning, so I mopped that up, and then I changed my clothes. I purposely actually wore an older top because I figured it would get wet anyway. And then I went and did my skincare because I figured it's part of my daily routine and we want to keep productive. Today was meant to be a very dedicated homemaking filming video. So when the power went out, I went, okay, some things we won't be able to do, but other things we will. So we're going to be like pioneer days and do what we can without power. I was actually a little bit excited for it, to be honest. We have gone without power. It was nearly 5 days way back when, in a really bad winter. We had a really bad electrical fault with one of the cables that ran into the house, and every time it rained it seemed to short circuit the house. And our really old oven also, when we tried to turn that on, it would short circuit. We have a safety switch so it would cut out, but it would reset everything. This was back when we didn't really store a lot of food in the fridge or the freezer either, so we didn't really lose a lot of stuff. But yes, we've learned a lot since then, and yes, our house is pretty safe right now. Replacing the oven helped as well. So of course, there's still chores to be done, which is cleaning the kitchen and putting away the dishes. I can actually say not having any power for the day was pretty much fine for me, because I'm used to things like that anyway, and being able just to potter around the house and clean out the cupboards or fold the laundry or do whatever I need to do, it was easy. But the children struggled a little bit. My daughter just read for most of the day. She was happy with that, but my son struggled a little bit. We played some board games, which you'll see coming up, and then he sorted out some of his Lego and some of his cards, and I think he was okay for day 1, but by day 2 he was really struggling. I remember that we had this torch in the cupboard, which is lucky because I've just decluttered all the candles that we own, haven't I? It's self-charging, you wind it up and it holds power, but it doesn't actually hold power very well. I took it apart as well in the evening to see if there was a way that I could boost it or something, but hubby had to put it back together again, so I nearly broke it. You know, I feel like can fix anything. We luckily did have someone knock on our door from the power company to check if we were okay and if there was any damage to our power board, and they said we were totally fine, so that was really good. This was lunch, and this is clearly an old can of spaghetti because it says 65 cents on it. It was still within best before date, but yeah, lunch was easy. The kids just had sandwiches. I'm happy that I got the kitchen clean today, and then I spent a good time trying to put this quilt inside the quilt cover. Winter is coming, and I figured it's time to get this organized, so if anyone needs a spare quilt or whatnot, they can have it, because it's a lot cheaper to wrap yourself up with additional bedding. But yeah, what a challenge this was. That's all I can say. Had nothing else to do today, so perfect time to get it done. It was actually really overcast today, and so there wasn't a lot of light in some areas, so recording makes it difficult. I did potter around the house a little bit, which I didn't all record, and I was trying to sort out some of the pantry, which I will put together in a different video for you. The evening came very quickly, and my daughter has this little lamp that my mum got her, like a night lamp, and it was a saving grace, let me tell you. This is the kitchen setup at 5 p.m. You can see it's still light outside, but it got dark in the house really quickly. I had my phone there with the torch to try and light up the area, because it could hover above me and no one had to stand there with a torch. I had been cooking this stew all day as well. We actually had a roast the night before, and I still had some meat left over, so it took me a while to cook that, which was good. It kept me busy. And then I say romantic, we had a candlelight dinner. The kids had pasta, which was easy to cook on the stove. We were all in bed by 10 o'clock because it was starting to get cold, and we figured there's nothing else to do, and they always say don't try and do things in the dark, like reading with really bad dimmed lights. And the power came on about midnight, which was really good, but then it went off again the next day at 6 a.m. So I was like, well, day 2, here we go. So again, started with boiling water on the stove to have all important coffee, and I did tidy up the kitchen a little bit as well. I just didn't film that because my phone battery was starting to get pretty low at this point in time. But had a coffee, most important thing of the day. The eggs needed using because they'd already been in the fridge, and I figured there's only a couple left, so I made French toast for my son. The last couple I went to cook hard boil, but they floated when I boiled them and went, The others I did test in the water to see, and they didn't float, and they were perfectly fine, and no one's sick. But I just thought, I just don't like the look of these eggs, and when I broke them open, the yolks were like that harder yolk as well, so I thought, I think I've done the right thing, absolutely. I tidied up the kitchen a little bit. I just didn't film it this time, like I said. My phone battery was not playing favorites. I did have the car that I could try and charge my phone a little bit, because I didn't really want to leave the house. At about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, for some reason I went to turn the oven on, and it turned on, which was a bit weird because we hadn't had a text to say we have power. We've discovered that we think the oven is hardwired into some line. When hubby came home at 7, he noticed one of the power switches was off, the safety switch, so he was able to turn that on, and we got power to the rest of the house. We still don't know what's going on to this day, but because the oven was working and it was warm, I figured I should probably cook the chicken that had defrosted in the fridge from the day before that I'd taken out of the freezer, thinking I'll get prepared for the week. But that cooked up lovely. I also went to, I think it was Reject Shop, because I got some batteries for these new torches, because I really needed better light than my phone, because as I said, I'm really struggling with power. And I was able to reheat dinner, which was really good. I am so grateful for the gas stove top, absolutely. In the evening, we did get power back, like I said, about 7 o'clock, but we've had no internet. We haven't had any internet for the following day either, which has been a challenge. challenge. I decided I would do some old school crafts and start a cross stitch because I really want to make something, but without the internet I can't download any patterns. And I was telling Kira about the bracelets that I used to make with these cottons, and I mentioned I could make one for her, like a bookmark, and she said yes. So then I sat there and did this for a couple of hours because I couldn't use the internet, and I actually enjoyed a little bit of slow living. It was quite enjoyable, actually. Thank you for joining me for a couple of chaotic homemaking days without power. It has been an experience, but I must admit I have actually enjoyed not having the distraction of having the internet there and the power, and just enjoying my day. I so appreciate you being here today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.